Hi, for our story, as what I've mentioned in part 1, Elijah and the widow, lesson 14. We'll skip 13 first. Our verse, Philippians 2:4, not looking to your own interests, but each of you to the interests of the others. In our first picture, you will see a man here, right? So his name is King Ahab. Okay, so many years have gone by. King David ruled Israel. Now, King Ahab was the ruler over the country of Israel, but he was not a good king. Ahab made a lot of bad choices. And he married a woman named Jezebel. Queen Jezebel worshiped an idol called Baal. An idol is a false god. Jezebel influenced King Ahab so that he began to worship Baal too. And that was a very wicked thing to do. Now, in the next picture, you will see there a man, and his name is Elijah. Elijah, however, followed God's ways. He was a prophet of the Lord. A true prophet means someone who had special knowledge from God. And usually they have like a message, special message from the Lord to a certain person. And now you can see him, Elijah, talking to King Ahab. Now, in this picture, what's the special message from the Lord? At first, I'm thinking that Elijah might have been afraid to speak boldly because he was not a good king, he was a wicked king. But he was obedient to God. God gave Elijah courage to speak the truth. However, look at his face. The king, however, did not listen to Elijah. So the Lord did as he had promised. You know what what Elijah told the king? He said to stop worshiping Baal, right? Because if he does not stop worshiping Baal, there would be no rain or dew. So, no rain nor dew. What do you think will happen if there's no rain or dew? The land will be super dry, and then it will not have nutrients and water. We cannot have crops. There will be what? Shortage of food. Okay? And God knew actually that King Ahab would not listen to Elijah's message, and that Ahab would angrily blame Elijah for the drought. So God protected Elijah and provided for Elijah's needs. Okay, because King Ahab was so mad at him. And you know what happened? How God protected Elijah and provide for his needs. He moved away, right? So he was being fed by a raven. But his bird. That's cool, right? And he's drinking from the brook, the small stream over here. That's how God provided for his needs. Okay, Elijah was so thankful for God's provision. And he probably had a lot of time to pray and thank God while he was hiding from the king. Eventually, though, the brook dried up. What do you think happened? Elijah, was told by God what to do next. This may have seemed like a strange direction from God, but Elijah did not question it. He believed God and showed his trust in God by obeying his commands. Okay, question before I move on to another story, because I'll be having a lot of story for today's lesson to cover the 1 week. Okay, so you can pause it and answer on your own. What did Elijah tell King Ahab? Okay, think about it first. And you are right. If Ahab did not stop worshiping Baal, there would be no rain or dew until the Lord commanded it. Second question. Where did Elijah get something to drink? Yes, God provided water from a brook, that's a small stream. How did God provide meat and bread to Elijah? Which bringing it to him. Ravens, yes, brought food each morning and evening. What did God tell Elijah to do when the brook dried up? Now, I have not told you the story yet, but this is what happened. So God told him to go to the city and speak to a widow. This woman right here. Okay, this widow. Widow means somebody whose husband passed away, and we have that story before about Naomi and Ruth and Orpah, whose husband passed away. This woman also, her husband passed away. Okay, so she has to feed her son. And now, God told Elijah to speak to a widow for something. Okay? As he entered the town, Elijah saw a widow gathering sticks from her fire. There, the sticks. Why? Why do you think? Because during that time, they don't have a stove or butane to cook. Okay, so they use this firewood to cook. This woman husband was dead and may not have anyone to provide for her needs. She would have been one of the first people to run out of food during the droughts. Remember, there's no rain and no dew. But God directed Elijah to speak to this widow, and God's direction may not have made sense to Elijah, but he listened anyway to God. It's okay, no video. When Elijah approached the widow, he first asked for a little drink of water. What? That's so strange, right? They don't have a lot of things to offer, but still, God told Elijah to ask for the drink, okay, from this woman, from this widow. The widow was ready to show hospitality to Elijah by giving him a drink. And hospitality has nothing to do with a hospital. It means showing kindness to guests. As the widow went to get the water, Elijah made the second request. Wow, so strange, right? He's asking a lot of requests to the woman who does not have much. Elijah asked her to bring him a little bit of bread. The widow was collecting the firewood so that he could bake and eat one last small loaf of bread. Then she and her young son would be completely out of food. They would starve to death after that. She wanted to show hospitality to Elijah, but sharing the last bit of food that they had was asking a lot. But Elijah comforted the widow when he gently said, "Do not be afraid." He promised her that if she would make some bread for him, the Lord God of Israel would take care of her needs. Wow, that is kind of tough decision to make, right? Do you think the widow listened to him? And he did. She did, sorry. She made bread for Elijah, and they all both ate, believing that God will provide for her needs. And of course, to make it short, God provided for her needs through Elijah. She never ran out of food. God kept supplying her need through flour and oil. So if you have oil and flour, you can make bread or the crust, pizza crust. Okay? Because she did follow the rule. She did follow what Elijah told her, trusting that God will provide for her needs. Okay, now, I'll continue the story. Before that, actually, the woman offered Elijah one of her rooms for Elijah to stay there. Okay, and Elijah was staying there, and then one day, her son got really sick. He's so sick that he died. And of course, Elijah felt so sad for the woman who showed hospitality to him. And so he carried this boy to his own room and prayed to God. believing that God will do miracles. Miracle is like something that is so impossible for men to do, but with God, it's so possible. He prayed to God, and guess what? Of course, God heard his cry and healed this boy who died. So he held him again back to the room where the widow is at. And there, oh, they're all super happy. They're full of gladness and joy because the son who died was now alive. Isn't that amazing? Because of God. Wow, we could see here a lot of miracles that just happened. Okay, first, God did not send rain or nor dew because King Ahab didn't stop worshiping Baal. And then we could find here how God provided for Elijah's needs by being fed by ravens, drinking from the brook. And then the widow also never ran out of food because she shared to Elijah what she had. And now this sick boy was made to life. I hope you like the story. So I'll be guiding you with our book. You can pause the video and grab your book and pencil with me. We'll be answering page 53. If you can go ahead, you can answer it, but you can also call this I can guide you too. Alright, I'll pause this video and then transfer to screenshot too so you can see me.